Vandeham Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji, audible and video is also very nicely, clearly seen, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sankarshan Prabhu, we can start now, Prabhuji. 7:16.
Yes, Prabhu, you can start.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu. So welcome all for the Nityam Bhagavata
Thank you.
Sevaya. We welcome Hare Krishna Prabhu also. Like to hear the nectar from the verses, I think from Canto 4, chapter 30, 25 to 26, right, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Over
Prabhuji.
to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Can you give me this permission to share the screen?
Yes, Prabhuji, definitely. I'll make you the co-host, Prabhuji, once.
Yes. We'll start with prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Agabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah. Hare Krishna. So I'd like to first seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas and thank the temple management authorities for giving an opportunity to read here and share as a part of my purification and for the service and pleasure of the Vaishnavas. So we are reading from 4th Canto, 30th chapter, verse number 25 and 26. 25th Shloka. Nama Kamala Nabhaya, Nama Kamala Maline, Nama Kamala Padaya, Namaste Kamalekshana. So this is a verse where the Prachetas are offering prayers to Lord Vishnu, who appeared, seeing their cooperative spirit of performing bhakti underwater for several years. Nama, we offer our respectful obeisances, Kamala Nabhaya, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whose abdomen the original lotus flower originated. Nama, obeisances, Kamala Maline, who is always decorated with a garland of lotus flowers. Nama, obeisances, Kamala Padaya, whose feet are as beautiful and fragrant as the lotus flower. Namaste, obeisances unto you, Kamala Ikshana, whose eyes are exactly like the petals of a lotus flower. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. Dear Lord, we offer our respectful obeisances unto you because from your abdomen sprouts the lotus flower, the origin of all living entities. You are always decorated with a lotus garland, and your feet resemble the lotus flower with all its fragrance. Your eyes are also like the petals of a lotus flower. Therefore, we always offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. The word Kamalanabhaya indicates that Lord Vishnu is the origin of the material creation. From the abdomen of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, a lotus flower sprouts. Lord Brahma, the first creature of the universe, is born from this lotus flower. And subsequently, Lord Brahma creates the whole universe. The origin of all creation is therefore Lord Vishnu, and the origin of all Vishnu Tattvas is Lord Krishna. Consequently, Krishna is the origin of everything. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, 8th shloka. Aham sarvasya prabho matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha samandita. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Lord Krishna says, I am the origin of everything. Therefore, whatever we see emanates from him. This is also confirmed in the Vedanta Sutra, Janmadhyasya Yataha. The absolute truth is he from whom everything emanates. Start with prayers. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Dhananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Dalita Shri Vishakanvitamsya Maum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namni Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauravatvishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Sri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevasha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I again seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas, all the devotees before I begin to share. So I heard two lectures, one of His Grace Shikshashtakam Prabhu, who's I think the temple president of ISKCON Nasik, and also His Grace Radhesham Prabhu. I will try to share from that and as per my understanding also try to add. So this shloka speaks about the beauty of Vishnu or Krishna. And this verse is very, very similar to the verse spoken by Srimati Kunti Devi, where she also says, Nama Pankaja Nabhaya, Nama Pankaja Maline, Nama Pankaja Netraya, Namaste Pankajangraye, like that. So Shikshashtakam Prabhu was very beautifully elaborating in his lecture on how the Lord, it is said that Shiva is called Abhisheka Priya. That means Lord Shiva's temple, if you go, you will see they do a lot of Abhishek. So Shiva is called Abhisheka Priya. And Vishnu is called Alankara Priya. That means Lord, one of the qualities mentioned in Nectar of Devotion by Rupa Goswami is Lord is a meticulous dresser. Already Lord is so beautiful. And on top of that, he's very meticulous in dressing. So it adds even more to the beauty. In fact, there is always a confusion amongst the devotees whether the dress is making the Lord beautiful or Lord's beauty is adding to the beauty of the dress. So Lord is also called by the name Lalita in the NOD. Rupa Goswami says Lalita means a meticulous dresser, like that. So Shikshastakam Prabhu was saying many a times in the Bhagavatam, when different incarnations come, like when Dhruva Maharaj did tapasya, then Lord appeared, or any for any devotee, when Lord appears, although the Lord has come for a particular purpose, but before that purpose and what Lord's instructions are and what the prayers offered by the devotee are, before all this, by default, there will be description of the beauty of the Lord. Why? Because Lord's beauty is so irresistibly attractive for the pure devotees. They are able to behold the beauty of Lord, and naturally their heart pours out with first the glorification of the beauty of the Lord. So here also we see, even before prachetas automatically being attracted by the beauty of the Lord, they start glorifying his form. So even in the thing we see Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela. So first we chant Lord's name, and when our heart gets purified, then one gets attracted to the beauty of the Lord, and then the qualities of the Lord, and then the pastimes of the Lord, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, all that. So we can see this is how it is natural for a devotee to be attracted by Lord's beauty. So Shikshastakam Prabhu was sharing from a work by Kavi Karnapur, where Kavi Karnapur is writing on how different Vrajavasis, as soon as Krishna was born, of course, I had a question. I will try to get it clarified from senior devotees. So in that thing, Kavi Karnapur writes, as soon as Krishna was born, how Mother Yashoda and all others, gopis who were surrounding Yashoda, they started glorifying Krishna, Krishna's beauty and all, like that. So there Kavi Karnapur writes a lot of description on the beauty of Krishna as perceived by Brajavasis, and in particular by Mother Yashoda. So one of the description mentioned by Kavi Karnapur was, as soon as Krishna was born, the Brajavasis, the gopis who saw Krishna there, they felt it is a creeper of lotus. So how can a lotus be called a creeper? Because lotus is not a creeper. Why are the Vrajavasis comparing Krishna's body to a creeper of lotus? Because lotus is an individual flower, but every part of Krishna's body was as beautiful as lotus. So therefore, it is appropriate to compare Lord's body as a creeper of lotus, like that. It is spoken by Kavi Karnapur that the Brajavasis first saw Krishna like a creeper of lotus. And after some time, Krishna also, unlike the crying of the people of this world, when we are born, we cry due to the agony, due to the frustration or pain and the confusion and bewilderment, like that. But Krishna's cry is not like that. He just externally cried to evoke the attention of Mother Yashoda, and also to indicate his auspicious presence for the whole world. And when Mother Yashoda saw Krishna, different types of feelings she got. First, when she saw the beautiful face of Krishna, for a moment, she became afraid, and she said, who is this lady that has taken birth or that has come to devour my child, like that? So Kavi Karnapur is explaining why Mother Yashoda got perturbed, because she said, Krishna's face was so shining, resplendent, that she saw her own reflection in Krishna's face, and she thought some woman has come to devour Krishna, like that. And then she started crying, who is this woman? Needless to say also, we have one pastime where Krishna himself is attracted by his beauty. Once when Krishna was standing near a pillar made of all gems, he saw his own reflection and he was surprised, who is this beautiful one? So Krishna's body is so resplendent. So first Mother Yashoda thought some woman has come to devour Krishna, and she became perturbed. And later on she reconciled. No, it is my child, and it's his body is so shining that I'm seeing his reflection, like that. And after some time, she because she's in her labor thing, she was kind of unconscious. Then Krishna also brings his hand closer, and so that she understands that Krishna is there next to her. And when she touches, she becomes again perturbed. She thinks, who is this soft, where is my child? I'm instead of my child, I'm only seeing some soft butter here. Then all the gopis pacify. Yashoda, please look at him. It is not butter that you're touching, because butter is golden yellow, but this is a bluish butter, because Krishna's bodily limbs were as soft as butter, like that. It was Yashoda was pacified by all the gopis, and then she understands, oh, okay, it is not butter, but the bodily limbs are as soft as butter. Same even in the Gopi Geet, when Lord Krishna goes to herd the cows, the gopis are praying. They are disturbed, the elderly gopis and all of them. Krishna's feet is so soft that how this soft feet will walk on the forests of Vrindavan, that too without any slippers, or what would happen to that soft feet, like that. So after some time, again, she thinks, she looks at Krishna's bluish complexion, and then she looks at Krishna's lotus lips, which are as red as a bimba fruit, like what we recite in Damodar Ashtakam. So then when she sees, again she gets perturbed. Where is my child? Instead of my child, somebody has kept some bluish sapphire and some red bimba fruits. Where is my child? And again the gopis say, no, this is your child Krishna. His bodily beauty is so wonderful, like that. So then she sees Krishna's beautiful locks of curly hairs, and when she sees the beautiful locks of curly hairs, she feels that this is like bumblebees that are surrounding the lotus face of Krishna. But unlike the bumblebees which constantly are hovering around the lotus, these bumblebees, the curly locks of hairs, they are constantly fixed. Bumblebees means they should be hovering around. Why are they fixed? Then she tells to herself that yes, it is obvious that they will be fixed, because when Krishna's beauty has so much nectar, when the bumblebees constantly drink so much of nectar, then they become intoxicated, and in that intoxicated state, they cannot move at all. So they are remaining fixed. Like this, she keeps, there are many more things, but with my Kali Yuga brain, which is conditioned, I'm not able to glorify Krishna's beauty as in depth as what Kavi Karnapur has told, because it is said only when, as we sing in that bhajan, Gauranga bolite have, Pulaka Sharira, Hari Hari bolite, Nayane babe nira, Ara kabe nitai chande, Karuna hoive, and then Samsara vasana mora, Kabe tucha habe. So we pray to Lord Nityananda that when will the day come when this samsara will look like tucha, And Vishaya Chadiya Kabe, when will I be frustrated with sense gratification? Shuddha Habe Mana, when my heart will be pure. And then Narottam Das Thakur is saying, Vishaya Chadiya Kabe, Shuddha Habe Mana, Tabe Hama Herabo, Shri Vrindavana. So, very tough to glorify Lord's form in full detail. Although we hear so many descriptions, I tell this to myself, although every place there is description of Lord, it is tough to hold Lord's beauty in the mind, because only when Vishaya Chadiya Kabe, Shuddha Habe Mana, when all the desire for sense gratification goes out, then Kabe Hama Heravo Shri Vrindavana. Then we will be able to see Vrindavan or see Lord's beauty and glorify Lord's beauty like that. So, lot more was spoken in the lecture and by Kavi Karnapur also. But few things what I could recollect from there. And all contradictions end in the Supreme Lord. So, Lord, in the Vishnu Sahasranam, it is said, Shantakaram Bhujangashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadaram Gagana Sadrisham Mega Varnam Shubhangam Lakshmi Shubhangam. So that word Shubhangam, Lord's every limb is auspicious for a devotee, and even for a non-devotee or a demon, it is auspicious, but in that auspiciousness is in terms of killing. So if you see that same hands which are as soft as lotus for the devotees, and it is very auspicious when the Lord placed his hand on Narsimha placed his hand on Prahalad, wonderful prayers and devotional feelings erupted from his heart. That same hand which touched Kubja and uplifted her and made her hunchback into straight thing and gave her beauty. That same hand which is source of all auspiciousness for devotees, it becomes as hard as thunderbolt for the demons. We sing in the Narsimha prayers also, Tava Kara Kamala Vare. So the Kara or the hands are like Kamala, but Nakam, the same hands also has the sharp nails for whom? For the demons, like Hiranyakashipu, who was killed just like an insect being killed by fire or anything like that. So Narsimha, same hands can do both things. And the same hand for demons, it can act like as a sword to cut off them. Like in Mathura itself, we see that same hands when the cloth seller did not give the garments for Krishna. So immediately cut off. It behaved like a sword, as sharp as a sword, and butchered off the head from that person. And same hand in Mathura, after some time, when Kubja offered some service, restored her beauty. In even the feet, we see that same feet which delivered Ahalya, that same feet which Guha, when Lord Ram was about to step into his boat, washed thoroughly, and he told that I have only one boat. Very recently you converted Ahalya, who was stoned into a beautiful girl. Now if you touch your feet on the boat, and the boat also becomes a beautiful girl, my profession also will be lost. Then I will have to maintain this girl also, which is very difficult. So therefore I want to wash your feet. Like that Guha said, and very intelligently took opportunity to wash off and drink the Charanamrit Krishna. So that same feet, which is all auspicious for devotees, that same feet which Haridas Thakur desired to keep on his chest and chant Sri Krishna Chaitanya when he left this planet and went back to the spiritual abode. And that same feat, which is all auspicious for the devotees, it is highly painful for the demons, like the Kaliya pastime we see. When Kaliya's head was being trampled by the same feet, all the poison was coming out, and along with the poison coming out, the false ego was getting damaged. So painful. for the demons. So all contradictions end in the Supreme Lord, and every part of his body is Shubha, auspicious. What to speak of the devotees? What to speak of Lord? Even pure devotees, Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj was sharing in one lecture. Even if we have a bad encounter with a pure devotee, it is still auspicious, like that. So Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj was saying that the encounter of Nalakuver and Manigriv with Narada Muni, it was not a very auspicious one. Why? Because it was not a pleasant encounter. Narada was angered by the behavior of transcendental anger, of course, by the behavior of Nalakuver and Manigriv. So even a unfavorable interaction with a devotee is still glorious. So if the devotee's unfavorable interaction can be so glorious, what to speak of the Supreme Lord, from whom devotees receive all the wonderful powers. So every part of his body is auspicious, Shubhangam. Whereas the living entity is Dushitangam. Dushitangam, our parts of the body are always contaminated, polluted. Therefore, we need to take bath. And even if it is the most beautiful actress or actor, however beauty the body is, the body emits all foul substances in the form of sweat, urine, stool, etc. So we are not Shubhangam, but Lord is Shubhangam. We see even in the pastime of Lord Rishabhadev, Prabhupada very humorously writes that when Lord Rishabhadev was playing the part of an Avadut Brahmin, so he would wander without any clothes, and when he would pass stool, the stool would smell as fragrant as flowers, like that. So then Prabhupada in the purport also writes, anyone who cannot make his stool as fragrant as what Rishabhadev's thing cannot claim he's an incarnation of God, like that. So Lord is Shubhangam. None of his parts or bodily limbs are ever contaminated. Whereas we are Dushitangam. Same in the pastime of Varaha. Lord Varaha appeared from the nose of Brahma. First of all, if anything comes out from the nose of a person, it is very, very inauspicious. And Lord Varaha appeared from the nose of Lord Brahma. So the place of origin itself looks very inauspicious. And then at least the form did Lord take a very materially so-called cherished form. The Lord took the form of a boar, a wild pig or a pig, that way. So coming from a nasty place and coming in a nasty species, there is every reason to feel that Lord's beauty is, Lord may not appear beautiful in this form, but Lord is one who is beyond our mundane logic. All contradictions end in him. So coming from such an inauspicious thing, as soon as he appeared, the saintly people, everyone were wondering, who is this? At that time, the wild boar slightly shook off the body, and from the bodily pores, a few sweat particles went and hit all the saintly people and all the people surrounding the wild boar, and they were smelling fragrance. So this is Lord. Even though the form is like the pig, comes out from the nose of Brahma, and the sweat appears as fragrant as the lotus, as fragrant as any scented water. Even I recollect the description of Kavi Karnapur also. One more description what was mentioned was that Lord's bodily fragrance was more than the fragrance of any aguru, etc. So when they tried to bathe the Lord with all these scented waters, it is said that the scented waters actually felt they were getting benefited by bathing the Lord's body, because they got more fragrance from Lord's body than they gave fragrance to the Lord's body. So like that. So Lord is called Shubhangam, and here it is said on the same Pankajangri, the same feet which devotees feel is like Samashrita Ye Pallava Plavam. It makes the material samsara sagar look like hoof print of a calf. But that same feet for a non-devotee like Kalia can act as pain or as death personified also for demons like that. So all contradictions end in Lord, and Lord's beauty, Lord's transcendental form, etc. They are never afflicted by the modes of material nature. We see in the pastime of Ashwatthama, Lord's eyes. So the whole scene was everybody was angry because Ashwatthama had just killed all the children, 5 children of the Pandavas, and Bhima was angry, Arjuna was angry. So Krishna also was angry. But the difference between Krishna's anger and the living entity's anger is living entity, when we become angry, we get carried away by mode of passion and ignorance. But although Krishna was angry, still in the description, in Srimad Bhagavatam, it says Lord's eyes were as cooling as the lotus petals or lotus flowers. But on the other hand, Arjuna's eyes were red coppery like that. So whenever one becomes angered and one falls to mode of passion or ignorance, the eyes become red shot like copper or fire like that. But Krishna, he is never overcome by mode of passion. Even in anger, he can maintain a calmful demeanor, smiling disposition. So because Krishna is not subjected to these modes, his anger is transcendental like that. So in that way, we can go on glorifying the beauty. And here, the purport, Prabhupada is bringing contradiction again. Although the Lord, who's so tender, who's so tender and so beautiful, but still, generally people, when they are gentle, tender, like they cannot actually have lot of power. Generally, the pile ones, their body is not tender, so therefore there is strength. But although Lord is so beautiful, every part of his is like a lotus. We see that he has so much strength and power that he is the origin of everything. So here also is another contradiction Prabhupada is mentioning, where Krishna is saying, I am the source of everything and the whole universe is emanating from me. Okay, so, and Prabhupada is also saying why he is called Kamala Nabhaya, for 2 reasons. One is because from his Nabi comes a lotus, and from that lotus, Lord Brahma is born, and the entire material creation rests on the stem of the lotus like that. That is one reason. Another reason, the depression on Krishna's navel also appears like the lotus flower like that. So that way, Lord is described as Kamala Nabhaya. And what is the beauty of Lord's form, Lord's lotus eyes, etc. So one pastime which comes to my mind is the famous pastime of one great Sri Vaishnava disciple of Ramanujacharya. His name was Dhanurdas. So in Sri Rangam, great procession. We know that in Sri Rangam, almost out of 365 days, 320 days or something is like all utsavams and festival, etc. So on one such day, when there was a grand procession for the Utsav Murti, all the great devotees, the sannyasis like Yatiraj Ramanuja, Dasharati, all of them, they were immersed in ecstasy, taking the Lord on procession, beholding his beautiful form, dancing in front of him, chanting his names loudly. But on one such day, when they were going on a procession, they saw one person who was completely oblivious to this entire scene, and that was Dhanurdas. So this Dhanurdas was fanning a lady, and the lady's name was Hemamba. And then he never even noticed the procession going. But Ramanujacharya looked at this person who was completely shameless in front of the Lord's procession. He was just fanning the beautiful lady. So then Ramanujacharya asked Dasharathi to call him and ask him, who are you? Are you not feeling ashamed? When Lord's procession is there, how can you be so oblivious to this entire creation? Lord's so beautiful, and what are you doing like that? So Dhanurdas was very honest. He said, I have never experienced spiritual beauty. All I have seen is nothing in this world appears more beautiful than the eyes of this person, Hemamba. So that is why I am captivated by her beauty. And Ramanujacharya asked if I can show you some other beauty far, far superior to the beautiful eyes of this woman. Would you give up this woman and surrender to that person? He said, of course, no doubt. If something else is more beautiful, what is harm in surrendering to that personality? Like that. So then Ramanujacharya asked him to come on the very same evening to the Sanctum Sanctorum of Ranganath. We know that there are 3 big doors, one for the lotus feet and one for the navel and one for the lotus face. So when the Aarti was going on in the evening, Dhanurdas promptly comes, and Ramanujacharya with his sincere prayers prayed to the Lord to bestow that divine eyes so that Lord's spiritual beauty could be revealed to Dhanurdas. And we hear Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. So although one may not have the anjan or the anointment of love, but when one hears the words of the acharyas, when one hears their description of God, it is like a spectacle or like a filter through which we can see and try to, even though we have conditionings, we may be able to some extent at least, see Lord's beauty. And when a pure devotee submits his plea, naturally, Lord is very, very merciful. Lord is also called Achyuta. Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavad Gita purport that Achyuta means one who never fails in fulfilling the promises of his devotee or pleasing his devotee, etc. So Lord, in order to please Ramanujacharya, bestowed his divine beauty and his beautiful eyes in particular to Dhanurdas. And as soon as Dhanurdas got the vision of his beautiful eyes, Lord's beautiful eyes, he fainted unconscious. And he said, I do not want anything else. Then eventually Ramanujacharya tells him, no, you both get married and be an ideal Grihastha couple, serve with keeping Lord in the center. And then both of them become great devotees of Lord. So in this way, every part of Lord's body can attract the conditioned soul back towards him. But on the other hand, if one doesn't develop devotion, then one falls prey to Maya Shakti. So Krishna Bulia Jeev Bhogvancha kare nikataste Maya Japatiya tare. So once living entity, he tries to forget Krishna and tries to engage in sense gratification, then Bhogvancha kare, eventually one gets captured by Maya, like that. The other aspect of Lord's beauty is every part of Lord's body is perfect and complete. In this world, somebody may have beautiful face, but their body may not be very proportionate. Somebody may have very like one person was saying to one of the gurus, it seems, that he was a brahmachari. Suddenly he said, I'm going to get married to this woman. So the guru asked him also, why? Oh, because her feet is like lotus, like that. So even if one doesn't have bhakti, one can get captured by just the feet of an ordinary person. For a man, a woman, and for a woman, a man, like that. So moment one tries to forget Krishna and tries to enjoy his own senses, then Maya captures the living entity, like that. So Krishna's body is not like that. Some people may have very soft feet, but their other parts of the body may not be very beautiful. Or even if they're all beautiful, but their voice may not be very sweet, or their qualities may not be sweet. That is why we hear Maduram Madurebhyopi. For Krishna, everything is Madur. His qualities are Madur. His talk is sweet. Some of them may be very beautiful, but they may have harsh speech. Some of them may be very beautiful. They may have a very cunning heart. Generally, to find entire body fully, completely beautiful is itself a very great difficulty. But even for the sake of argument, let us assume somebody has all parts perfectly proportionately formed, but still the qualities may not be beautiful. The other aspects may not be good. Krishna is not like that. He's Rupavan, Gunavan, like in that Vibhavari Shesha song also we sing. Sakala Guna Ganadama, like that. He's the abode of all good qualities, Krishna, like that. So, same with the Kandarpa, Kamadev and Rati, when they wanted to distract Lord Shiva from his tapasya, in order to overcome lust, generally people cannot do it so easily. So Shiva had to show his anger to subdue lust. But when it came to Krishna, all Krishna did was he just played on his flute, and just hearing that flute and seeing Krishna's beautiful form, Kamadev and Rati both fainted. And so this is the difference. In this world, for people who are not spiritually advanced, for them to subdue lust, they need to show anger. Just like in case of Vishwamitra, first time he fell prey to lust. Second time, when another damsel came to distract him, he became angry towards the Apsara in order to subdue lust. But for Haridas Thakur, who is an exalted devotee, he can remain peaceful, and just by his bhakti for Krishna, he could transform even the prostitute. So if this is possible for a pure devotee, what to speak of the Lord? Lord can, we see even in the pastime of Naranarayan Rishi, where Indra was insecure and he sent the Apsaras and others to distract. And from Lord's thighs, so many beautiful damsels started coming out. And finally, Urvashi was born, and she was sent back to Indra as a present. And Naranarayan Rishi said, "Don't worry, we are not competing with you. You take this Urvashi and enjoy if you want. This is a gift from our side," like that. So Lord is, Prabhupada also says, confectioner is never attracted, a sweet confectioner is not attracted to sweets because he has so much sweet, he doesn't have to feel any attraction for sweets. Same way, Lord is the source of all beauty. So he never falls prey to lust. But all other living entities who haven't taken complete shelter of Supreme Lord, we have a tendency to fall prey to lust. And 26th shloka, Nama Kamala Kinjalka Pishangamala Vasase Sarvabhuta Nivasaya Namo Yungshmahi Sakshine. So here again, they are offering obeisances now to the Vastra also, the garment. Nama, Kamala Kinjalka, like the saffron in a lotus flower. Pishanga Amala Vasase, yellowish spotless garment. Sarva Bhuta Nivasaya, the shelter of all the living entities. Nama Ayungshmahi, let us offer Sakshine unto the supreme witness. So they're continuing their offering obeisances. Now they're offering obeisances to the garment. Dear Lord, the garment you have put on is yellowish in color, like the saffron of a lotus flower, but it is not made of anything material. Since you live in everyone's heart, you are the direct witness of all activities of living entities. You offer respect. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you again and again. Purport. In this verse, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His all-pervasive nature as Paramatma is mentioned. The Lord puts on a dress that is yellow, but such a garment is never to be considered material. The garments of the Lord are also the Lord. They are not different from the Lord because they are spiritual in nature. The word Sarva Bhuta Nivasaya further clarifies how Lord Vishnu lives in everyone's heart. And because he is Sarva Bhuta Nivasaya, because he is in everyone's heart, he can witness all the activities of the conditioned soul. Within this material world, conditioned soul has desires and acts in accordance with these desires. All these are observed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto mattasmritir jnanam apohanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. The Lord is present in everyone's heart, and He gives the living entity intelligence. According to the desires of the living entity, the Lord makes him remember or forget. If the living entity is demoniac and wants to forget the personality of Godhead, the Lord gives him intelligence to be able to forget the Supreme Lord forever. Similarly, when a devotee wants to serve the Supreme Lord as Paramatma, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yenama Upayantite Tesham Evanukampatam, all those verses. The Lord gives the devotee intelligence to make progress in devotional service. Lord directly witnesses our activities and He experiences our desires. The Supreme Lord gives us the facilities to act in the way we wish. So here Prabhupada is clarifying also how one should be very careful with what desires we cultivate, because the Lord is experiencing our desires, and according to the desire, He will give us facilities based on our prarabdha karma also, on our karma. So even in Dhruva Maharaj's pastime, Dhruva Maharaj later laments the Dhruva Loka that you gave. Dhruva Maharaj says, I consider them like punishment for my initial material desire that I had, like that. So we can also pray to the Lord that as we are practicing bhakti, we can try to we can pray to the Lord in case we have desired something material and we are desiring, don't take it seriously. Bhakti Vinod Thakur also in one bhajan very beautifully says that you are like our father. As an ignorant child, I may sometimes ask something meaningless, but as a father, if you provide, what kind of father you are? You are supposed to chastise me and correct me and give me what I actually need. So we can also offer this prayer to the Lord because we have still some quite a lot of material coverings. Natural, sometimes our prayers may not be exactly as per the pure devotional standard. We can pray to the Lord, please don't take those seriously, because you are my maintainer, you are my father. So a father, the child foolishly may ask something, but if you don't correct us and give us the right thing, then what is the hope for us? So we can offer this prayer and pray to Lord to not take those desires seriously and correct us and give us the realization of how petty those things are, and only aspire for pure bhakti. And on the other hand, we can also see Prabhupada is speaking about Tadiya. Even we see Vishnu says, of all the worship, Shiva says, Narayana's worship is supreme, and more than Narayana is Tadiya. That means paraphernalia. The devotees are also called paraphernalia of Lord. All the items used in devotional service or connected to Lord are also paraphernalia. So we see the Vastra. That is why after Abhishek on any festival day, devotees are offered some Vastra to be tied on the hands. And we see even in Pratapradra's pastime, because Rath Yatra is coming up very close. So Lord first gave Prataprudra mercy through his child. Prataprudra's child was embraced. Then he also gave his Uttari to Prataprudra. And Prataprudra did not consider them any different from the personal darshan of Lord. So because he valued them, when we value the paraphernalia, eventually we will value the person also like that. So then the Lord appropriately at the later time, being pleased by his humility during the Rath Yatra, gave him complete mercy by actually embracing Prataprudra. These are things which I wanted to share. Some other things I remembered from the Kavi Karnapur's description was how when she touches the chest of Krishna, Yashoda Mai, she sees the Srivatsa Chinna and Lakshmi sitting there on the golden Lakshmi thing on the golden thing. So she sees and she considers the Srivatsa Chinnam as maybe some taints of milk that has fallen from the lips of Krishna. After drinking breast milk, some taints of milk has fallen. So she tries to wipe it, but she's unable to remove it. Then the place where Lakshmi is sitting, the golden thing, she thought maybe it's some golden bird sitting on the nest and carefully making sure that Krishna's chest is like the nest for Lakshmi, and in the nest the birds don't allow any others to enter. Same way, Lakshmi is making sure that nobody else enters into the nest of her drinking the Krishna's beauty like that. So these all descriptions are mentioned. Shiksha Shankar Prabhu was very beautifully elaborating. With my limitations, I tried to repeat whatever I could hear. Please forgive me if I spoke something beyond my realization. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Haridev, Krishna Prabhu.
Dandavat
Thank you
Pranam.
for wonderful narration of Lord's beauty. Actually, you are actually bringing before us the limbs and beautiful form of the Lord through your narration. It was so beautiful, Prabhuji. Actually, there were 2 points which were really striking. One shows the geniusness of Srila Prabhupada, like how Lord is not attracted by his own beauty. Like a confectionery shop owner, and he's in the sweet shop, he's having so many sweets, but he's not so attracted. Similarly, Lord is not attracted by his own beauty. Actually, this is such a simple but profound example that gives good connection at our level. So I really, that specific example that you shared was really, really nice, Prabhuji. Yeah. So, thank you, Prabhuji. Like to request the devotees to share any questions or comments that they may have. I just unmuted the line.
Krishna Prabhu, wonderful discussion. And also, Yashoda Mai, the way she perceived the different things is so wonderful.
Yes, first time I'm also hearing the description. Thanks to Shikshastakam Prabhu and Kavi Karnapur, we can be grateful for the acharyas. So much to meditate upon the beauty of Lord. So we can thank that.
Yes, Prabhu. Actually, you have given us through them. So we are obliged. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
I just have one question. It may be a general question. So many times we see the Lord's beauty or different limbs of the Lord is always compared to the lotus. Is there any reason, Prabhuji, why it's only lotus, though there are so many other beautiful flowers like Parijata, etc.?
Yes. I've heard 2 reasons. One is, of course, because lotus, although it is considered like one of these flowers, it is something that existed even before the secondary creation of Brahma, because before Brahma created the other parts, he himself was born from a lotus. So in that way, we can call it as spiritual. So Lord beauty cannot be compared with any material things. So material means it would be a substandard comparison like that. So some people feel that lotus was there even before Brahma's creation. So that is one. Another is that lotus is never afflicted by mud. So same way, Lord's beauty is never contaminated with any of the material things. That is also one other reason. And one other reason I think I shared in one place also. Radhesham Prabhu in the Guru Puja prayers, Prabhuji was explaining also why the Guru's feet is considered lotus and Krishna's feet is also considered lotus, because the lotus has lot of fragrance, and there are other fragrant flowers like the ketaki, etc. But some of these fragrant flowers are actually kind of insectivorous also, like ketaki flower. It is said very fragrant, but when the insect goes and sucks, then it eventually kills the the ketaki kills the insect. But lotus, it gives nectar and it acts like a safe shelter for the living entity, like that. So in that way, we can see that there is many solutions given from many people, but even for happiness, some people say go and watch movies, some people say go behind a woman, like that. So but all of them eventually capture the living entity, but only the Guru's feet can give nectar and can act as a safe shelter, or even Lord's feet, like that. So but why not Parijata? Because lotus, like lotus, there are others, maybe like rose, although it has beauty, there are thorns. Parijata, I'm not sure, but lotus, if you see, it cannot do any harm at all to the person holding it or to the insect, like that. So it is considered as a safe shelter for devotees where they get nectar and they are not harmed also.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for very nice insight. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Can we end, Prabhuji? Gaurchandra Gopinath Prabhu, thank you, Prabhuji, for sharing this Kavi Karnapur's entire description. It's very nice.
Next, devotees, are there any other comments or questions? We have a couple of minutes. Okay, Prabhuji, I think there are no questions. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for sharing the nectar again from Srimad Bhagavatam and narrating the transcendental beauty of the Lord. So we'll end today's session with Vaishnava Pranam, Prabhuji, and devotees.
Kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhuve Atitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, devotees. We'll be ending the Zoom session. Hare Krishna.